This is a level 4 out of 5 difficulty video. Most channels will not tell you that. We will. Every single time. Because you are not here for a quick fix. You have already tried those. You are here because you genuinely want to understand what is happening inside your mind. And that takes a little more than 60 seconds. If you are still watching, let's begin. Is there any purpose to life? Is it a bad thing to have no purpose? Is there even a real relationship between purpose and life? And here is the deeper question. Is it not that life comes first? And purpose is simply the mind's escape from everything that feels unpleasant and contradictory. But before we go there, let's address something they have been telling you. They are feeding you rubbish about neuroplasticity. You have been told that the brain is wired purely for survival. That is a very big lie. Yes, something went wrong with the human mind somewhere in the past, but researchers discovered that in the Kalahari desert, an ancient hunter-gatherer society would actually mock their own hunters who killed large animals, specifically so that the hunter would not build up an identity, an ego. Think about that carefully. An ancient society already understood that identity is a form of corruption. Yet today's world not only accepts identity, it forcefully pushes you to build one. Because identity is the outcome of conditioning applied by those groups who wish to control wealth and power. And in that very process, even they are trapped, rising to the peak of success and then falling down. The same vicious cycle for everyone without exception. Are you the kind of person who can hear a single bird chirping in the middle of tremendous noise and chaos all around? That is not a disorder. That is a highly attentive mind. A psychologist will tell you that this kind of mind is abnormal. But then I ask, what exactly is normal? I think those who never question anything are the ones considered normal in the eyes of the psychologist. But consider this. If the mind is free and every sense is operating without the burden of memory, what happens then? That mind can observe any environment without being distracted by noise. It can effortlessly filter different sounds, people walking on a sidewalk, birds flying in the sky, all simultaneously and clearly. This is not hypersensitivity, this is unburdened senses. The very same state your senses were in when you were a young child. Now one wonders what is there inside the mind that is constantly asking, constantly striving for a purpose. What does it truly want? The mind is essentially saying, I am nothing. And from that single deep belief arises endless comparison with others, a desperate search for meaning, a relentless attempt to become something. But that desperate attempt to be somebody eventually reaches a point of complete exhaustion. Drains the very energy that was essential for genuine clarity. So this becomes an endless cycle, gathering energy through searching for a solution, only to arrive again at a point where everything feels unworthy, futile. And from this cycle emerges the structure of what is called depression, where every thinker, every analyst, every doctor delivers a long pre-written statement that depression is a disease without ever truly examining the nature of the word identity. The most sacred movement of the mind, its awakening, is labeled as a disease. Yet depression may actually be the most powerful activity of the mind, breaking its own illusion. An illusion built through conditioning, through the borrowed books of the past, through a society that is itself the product of collective fear. Now here is something that is almost never discussed. A mind can only be burdened by self-centric activity, but a free mind, unburdened by identity, can process and handle data that even the most advanced supercomputer cannot handle at this present time. Why do I say this? Because the supercomputer is the outcome of the mind. The mind is the source, and nothing can ever become greater than its own source. So do not be troubled by so-called psychologists who carry a very strong self-centric identity, because they cannot truly understand what they are not experiencing in this very moment. They can only repeat the memory, which is basically nothing but the borrowed thoughts of others. Now one can see it clearly. The word identity is at the very root of this entire problem. Identity creates conflict. When you do something that is a true passion, there is no identity present. No demand for reward, no need for recognition. The source of every action, every solution, every analysis is itself flawed and misinformed. And from that flawed source, the same conflict arises again and again. This is like a society that creates a police department to eliminate crime. But every single policeman comes from that very same society. Years pass, the department remains. And so does the crime. Nothing is ever truly resolved. This means one thing very clearly. Nothing from the outside can ever change what is happening on the inside. So the first and most important realization is this. Nobody, no book, no teacher, nothing outside of you can help you understand the state of the mind that exists within you. But here is the part that is almost never spoken about. You can work directly with the facts, and whoever genuinely inquires through the facts can become a light for themselves, and in that very light, quietly for others too. Because whether it is him, her, or you, we are all the same mind. The mind is like a self-burdened loop machine. When one stops the energy drainage, that very same reclaimed energy begins to free the mind further. That is truly all it takes. These very simple exercises applied honestly in day-to-day life. In the previous video, we explored the first exercise, don't compare. Claim back the energy that is currently flowing into self-centric activity. And that activity begins the moment we start to compete. Competing in examinations, competing to show off, competing to prove that your life is the hardest, competing to display knowledge. Stop all of that for the next 7 or 10 days. Do not compete psychologically with anyone for anything, no matter what is happening in your life. Just for 7 or 10 days. Do not compare and do not compete. But let me clarify one thing very clearly here. Do your best from the day before. That is the second exercise. We will discover the next step together in the next video.